This is Brian with ScreenFiles.com in review. What I'm looking at today is 2020's The Toll, directed by Michael Nader, who also co-wrote 2018's Headcount, which is really good, by the way. If you haven't seen Headcount, check it out. Pretty interesting movie. The Toll and Headcount have elements in common, it's worth mentioning. Namely, the idea of a supernatural presence. Though the creature known as the Toll Man in The Toll is very interesting, mainly because he's very ambivalent. And you'll be able to know what I mean by that when you see the entire movie through to the end. You can't necessarily tell as it proceeds, but when it ends, it all comes together. And this ambivalence as to its nature is what's so fascinating about this movie, at least for me. It revolves around a woman who is taking a ride share, and she's going to visit her father, who is divorced from her mother. So they take this detour, and the car suddenly dies. In fact, electronics die, which includes cell phones, which is good because that's typically an out in these type of movies. So the cell phone doesn't work, nor does the electronics of the car, which for a moment made me think about alien abduction scenario, but that has nothing to do with this narrative. So they eventually determine that they can't escape. It's almost like they're in a pocket dimension. One way this manifests is that the road they're on seems to loop. Never mind, when one of the characters walks the road, she doesn't take any turns. She just walks straight and somehow ends back where she started, at the car, with the rideshare guy. So they eventually learn of the Toll Man and how he has to kill one of them. One of them has to die. And as the movie proceeds, you don't want anyone to die, which is again a sign of a well-written movie. I've seen many horror movies where I want the antagonist to pretty much kill everyone and be done with it. The people are so irritating. That's not the case with The Toll. And the dialogue on this movie is just excellent. It's funny, darkly funny, and not in a way that involves pratfalls or anything like that. It's just people saying things in response to a bizarre Twilight Zone-esque situation. It's also somewhat atmospheric. I wish it had more, but there is a presence to it. There is a sense of foreboding, which helps. And the Toll Man himself, visually speaking, looks like a character from Doctor Who. That's not a bad thing in and of itself. It's just something almost generic about his look. As I said, it's not bad, but it's not that interesting either. And I wish there were some explanation given as to why he looks the way he looks. But in any case, it surprised me at how enjoyable this movie is. It's well written, it's interesting, it's almost in the vein of a psychological horror movie. It's not. There's definitely an antagonist. And I should mention that the way the Toll Man works is that he manifests things to you. He has you seeing things that he wants you to see. So our couple can't trust each other, not really, because the Toll Man shows them instances of the other killing them, which, remember, is his goal. His goal is to kill one of them. Or is it? This is where that ambivalence I mentioned about the Toll Man comes in. As the movie progresses, you don't quite know why he's doing what he's doing. Initially, it comes off pretty clear. Well, in one respect, it is clear. His goal is to kill one of them. And the movie tells us that It's not something he can do himself. They have to do it to each other. Or I should say, one of them has to kill the other. But as the movie progresses, you start to see into why he's doing what he's doing. And it changes the nature of the tall man just a little bit, in that he becomes a little bit more interesting than these characters typically are. The toll is enjoyable, it's satisfying, and surprisingly better than most movies of its ilk. So what do you think? This is Brian with ScreenFiles.com and a review. Do you agree, disagree? Let me know down below. And as usual, consider a like or a follow.